Jim, we're with you for the next 3 hours. We have giveaways. We have Darnay Tripp. We're not giving him away, I'm being told.
Oh, I thought we are.
Text him and see if we can give him away. Darnay Tripp, NBC7's on the show at 3:31. Lucky listener.
Darnay Tripp for a weekend.
He's going to murder us. By the way, he made it clear when he said he was going to join the show today. He's very busy.
Very busy.
How are you busy?
You're not just waiting around waiting for our text?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, right, Darnay Tripp, 3:30. Ryan Harrington on the U.S. Open. Jim just told you well underway, round one. Ryan Harrington Golf Digest will join us coming up at 5:30. We've gotten a text from Darnay.
Hi, Darnay.
No, he says. Okay, so.
He's like, why are you reading my text messages on air?
We're not giving away Darnay. He will join us at 3:30. He was at the Chucky Lozano press conference earlier today.
Everyone was. This is just like that old Richard Pryor movie, The Toy. You just get to win Darnay, and he'll come over to your house and like hang out with you for a while.
Is it that big of an ask to have one of our guests go to one of our listeners for a 48-hour period or something?
He'll record an On Friars podcast
from your
home. He'll do a
sports
report at your house. He'll also shoot a feature that will be played on NBC during his sports reports.
Sounds amazing.
I think that would be a very, very cool giveaway.
All right, Darnay Tripp at 3:30. We're not giving him away. And Ryan Harrington Golf Digest at 5:30. I don't know if we've asked this before in the Talkback Mike, but with the Chucky Lozano official today, we'll throw it out even if we've thrown it out before. What is your level of excitement for San Diego FC and Chucky Lozano? Now that you've seen him, he's going to be in an SDFC uniform. He's been introduced to the media. Tonight he'll be introduced to the fan base down at the Rady Shell. What's your level of excitement, listeners? What is your level of excitement for Chucky Lozano? San Diego FC. You can hit us up on the Talkback Mike. Open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap that red Talkback Mike. We'll play back your 30-second responses coming up later this hour. What's your level of excitement, San Diegans, for Chucky Lozano? Again, open the app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap that red Talkback Mike. We'll get more into that over the course of the show. Jim Bowden has doubled down on trade targets, Jim, on this Padres off day. It's never dull, even on an off day.
I want him to triple down. Is that too much to ask?
No, it's not. Like the Padres today as a team are probably like, there's some guys at the Statue of Liberty. I'm making this up. There's some guys in like Midtown Manhattan. There's some guys at like the MLB offices doing some photo shoots. Like they're just enjoying a day in Manhattan, summer day.
Oh, when you have an off day in New York.
Oh, the world's your oyster. You can rent a boat, go out on the, whatever the heck that is, the water. Right? You can
whatever
do whatever
that
you
is
want.
called out
there. Typically where you take boats, John.
But the Hudson, go out on the Hudson,
there you
enjoy
go.
it, enjoy your day. But while the Padres are enjoying their day, Jim Bowden is writing this. As we've already known, AJ Preller, not only is he forecasting trade targets to be guys like Jesus Luzardo, Garrett Crochet, he's saying the Padres have already talked to these teams about these specific players. He's written this, Jim. They've talked to the Marlins about Luzardo. We knew that. They've talked to the White Sox about Crochet. We kind of knew that. They've talked to the White Sox about Eric Fetty, another starter, and they've talked to the Detroit Tigers about Jack Flaherty, veteran starter. So not only are we forecasting or just kind of like the rumor milling this around, the Padres, according to Jim Bowden, have talked to 3 teams about 4 starters, and we're 6+ weeks away from the trade deadline.
Yeah, are you surprised?
No, not really. No, not really. It's a little early.
Not in AJ Preller's mind. In AJ Preller's mind, it is, I got to strike right now.
Mm-hmm.
He did it with Dylan Cease. He sure as hell did it with Luis Ariz. And if there's an opportunity, like today, to make a trade, he's going to make a trade.
While they're sightseeing?
Of course.
Okay.
Who cares? He'll call anybody at any time, regardless of what they're doing. It could be Thanksgiving, and he could be like, hey, whoever the GM of the White Sox is, just talking to him about trades. Like, AJ, it's Thanksgiving. AJ, stop. It's 2 a.m.
This is a Wendy's.
What are we doing?
Hey, we need to stop touring the stock exchange and go back to the airport. You're now a guardian.
Chris Getz is the GM now.
Okay. Hey, Chris. So Garrett Crochet, AJ, you've called me 17 times in the last 3 days. I know what you want. I'm telling you what I want. But how about this? How about this? He's going to make calls every single day. This organization is not great at like keeping under wraps the involvement that they have on certain players. I feel like at times it's just wildly easily known who AJ is going after.
Does Bowden go to Preller, or does he just call the other 29 teams and be like, who has spoken to Preller?
Oh, probably that.
And then they say, oh, yeah, we're talking to him about Fetty. And they're like, oh, we're talking to him about Flaherty.
Yeah, I don't think Preller per se is leaking anything, but I'm pretty sure it's easy to find out like who you've been talking to. And then the GMs would be like, I'll give you one guess who's called me 17 times.
If I'm the team giving up the major league talent, I'm publicizing it. Why? I want other teams in. Like if I'm the team trying to acquire,
that's a lot of times why you see, well, Padres are going heavily after this person. The Padres are in on this person.
Teams are making like Jim Bowden aware
because he has a reputation of usually when he wants something really bad, he's going to go and acquire that player regardless of the cost.
Sure.
And most of the time, he's going to be viewed as like, whoa, they give up that much? Like maybe a little bit of an overpay on first glance. And so that's probably the signal to other teams like, hey, if you don't step in now, AJ is not going to be afraid to give us his top 4 prospects.
But the funny thing is, yes, on Soto, but the report on like the Dylan Cease trade was like, oh, they kept their top 5 prospects. You got the guy that finished second in the Cy Young. Oh, the Luis Ariz trade. Oh, that's what you gave up for
True.
Luis Ariz?
No, true.
2-time hit chance. There's times maybe he has overpaid. He hasn't won every trade. There's no question about it. He hasn't won at the big league level every single year. So he hasn't won every single trade, but he has an amazing way. He's like that guy, that like he's always buying things. You're like, where does Bobby get his money from?
Oh, I have those friends.
Like how does he? Oh, he's always getting the new toys and the new computers and the new iPads. But
how are you in Paris right now?
Yeah, he's got a normal job, and his wife's got stays at home with the kids. Like AJ Preeller's the guy. He keeps going back to the well, and he always has a top 10 system, and he never gives up his top 3 prospects.
Right.
How does he do that?
Yeah, perfect. Yes. Sorry,
how does he not? Yeah,
we have this glass in our studio so people can walk by and look in.
People think we're pandas.
I think they do. And then they come over and we're on air and they start trying to talk to us. Anyway,
hi guys.
Yeah, hi.
That's so neat.
Hi, we're on the radio.
Now I know what it's like to be in a zoo, like as the animal.
Yeah. Look
exactly.
at me.
Anyway, he keeps his top prospects.
Always does.
And he's always got a decent enough farm system. It's never 30th.
No.
Not very rarely. Short period of time.
Well, that's also like part of the whole thing that Preller makes sure that he does is that he is going to do a fantastic job, however it is, by promoting his system, making sure that guys are elevated in certain spots to make it so he has a top system in baseball. And with the sweep yesterday of the A's and them, seemingly playing like potentially going on a hot streak right now, right? And the question marks around their pitching staff. They played better on this homestand, actually a lot better. It's the best homestand of the season. Like AJ is probably viewing this team in this moment as I got to make a move. I got to tinker. I got to make sure this team is the best possible team that I can make it. And if I don't, then things could potentially happen. And I got to act now. Like he's that type of person that can't just sit around and wait. He needs to he's very antsy. He needs to act.
Well, here's the thing. He definitely can use starting pitching, but I would be careful to do too much tinkering with a group that seemingly actually enjoys each other. Like, I don't think it's some act. What's going on day in and day out, the way they react to big moments, the way the dugout reacts in real time in these games. Like, I think he's got a group that is working well together. He doesn't have the best team in baseball, obviously. They're 2 games over 500, but you don't want to mess with a good dynamic because you know what the opposite of that is. It's last year's Padres. So, like, yeah, I'm all for adding starting pitching, but I'm not all for the 2020 move he made, which was changing over 9 players on the Major League roster at the trade deadline.
This is
because you think you can go for it.
No, this is going to be anybody in the farm. You better keep those travel plans and your lease ready to lease a person
is
to call.
It anyone? Because again, we joked about it yesterday. Is it anyone? Like, are you anyone? Ethan Salas and
I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't think it's anyone?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
from the standpoint of the Major League roster and the vibes, right, that are so high right now, even though they're just still 2 games under 500.
No, over.
Sorry, over 500. My bad. I don't see like a crazy overhaul of the big league roster to acquire a blockbuster type of player. I just don't.
No, not the big league roster.
No, not the big league roster
Yep.
at all. If you get Garrett Crochet, you're trading away some top prospects for him. If you get Jesus Luzardo, you're probably going to trade away some top prospects for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in here and you look at the big league roster. Well, who would be all the odd mans out there for the pitching side? Probably like a Johnny Brito, probably like not a Kolek because he's Rule 5 guy, but probably Johnny Brito-ish. Like if you're going to add to this roster, or if it's Joe Musgrove going down for the rest of the season, or whatever the case may be.
Darvish not being healthy.
Yeah, you're going to add one or two players to this big league roster without hurting the vibes at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And by the way, I would even risk it for starting pitching, because I know the alternative is that you lack starting pitching. It can do you in, and the Padres are like the classic example. We always talk about it. Even last year, they lost Joe Musgrove in August, and they couldn't make a move as a result of it. It was after the trade deadline. 2021, they lost pitchers in August, including like a Chris Paddock, and then they just went. I mean, they went down the drain in 2021. A lot of it, though, is on pitching. Like Manny Machado can't go 6 innings. Vince Velasquez can, unfortunately, or Jake Arrieta. 2020, Clevenger hurt, Lamet hurt. Like all of that recent history, 20, 21, 23. I would even say 22 with Clevenger and I in the postseason. I gotta add. That's all I'm thinking about. If I'm AJ Preller and like my assistant GM is like, hey, do you want to go see the Statue of Liberty? I'm like, no, dude, I got calls to make. Like, do you want to go out to dinner tonight? Like Midtown? No, man, I got calls to make. I got an email to send off to the Brewers. I can't go out tonight, man. I'm staying in.
So, okay, after this sweep, 2 games over.
Yeah.
How has your opinion changed on this team, if at all?
Drastically. No, I mean, we've honestly, dude, of course our listeners know we are critical of the Padres. And I think fairly and reasonably, like critiquing, not unfairly critical, but critical. But we've also stood pat from day one. You said day one, you think it's a mid-80s win team. I said day one, it's a mid-80s win team. When they were a 500 team a month ago, we both said we like their chances more than not to eventually reach the postseason. I said 3-4 weeks ago, I like this team. We've said it a lot. They're doing things that the 2023 team isn't doing. So I'm on board with the team. I don't think it's a perfect team, but I'm absolutely on board. I do think they'll be one of the best 6 teams in the National League. I'm going to hold true to that. I'll be critical in real time as it ebbs and flows. But I think at the end of the day, knowing AJ Preller, I think he had starting pitching. I think he'll field a top 6 team in the National League. I still feel that way, and I've always felt that way, truthfully.
It's funny because, like I said, during the fusion, this team was 2 games over 500 after they blew that game to the Royals just last Sunday. And that was the game that they over 500. And then they, of course, went on to a 5-game losing streak. And that game on Sunday was a big downer for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just bled into the Angels series and then the first game of the Diamondback series.
Right.
And so you're like, there we go, 5 games in a row that they lost.
Mm-hmm.
But it is funny how that Monday we came in, they're 2 games over 500, beat one of the best home teams in baseball on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, this is not really great. What's going on here? But yet they're 2 games over now after 2 walk-offs versus one of the worst teams in the American League.
True. In baseball,
and
truthfully.
The tone of the fan base, I think, is pretty damn positive right now, to the point of like, I'm confident they're going to make the postseason no matter what now.
Well,
they're about to make their run.
No, that you're right. I think your assessment's spot on. I think your point is valid.
Is if they do make a run, it's validated because of what they've done up to this point. And you're like, okay, I could see it. It's not just some randomness out of nowhere type of, 8 of 10 that they would potentially have.
Well, here's the thing. They're 5-1 in their last 6. So we always talk about going 8-2 over a 10-game stretch. We've talked about this for like years. They had a 9-game winning streak in 2021. They started very well in 2022, but then we're a 500 team for 4 months. Like, they are within arm's reach. I got to go do it. What is it? They go 3-1 in their next 4. They're playing the New York Mets for the next 3, and the Mets, shoot themselves in the foot, so to speak, a lot, and have not had a good year. They're playing tonight, by the way. Padres enjoying an off day. So, the Padres might go to the Mets game. I think the Mets are hosting the Marlins tonight.
Yeah.
So my point is, you win a series.
Team.
You win a series in New York, and all of a sudden you are 7-2 in your last 9, going to Philadelphia. Like, this may be, and now it's no longer far fetched. Like, it was easy for us to say, hey, at some point you got to go 9-2 or 8-2 or 8-3. Maybe now, like, they are in it because they're 5-1 in their last 6 games.
Yeah, you could say that. Maybe this is the 12 of 15 stretch that they're in, and not like, does it start tomorrow? Like, maybe they're in it right now. Maybe they're in that stretch where we've been asking for them to have something for a long time. Or you could be in the case of like, well, I still have to see it to believe it. Like, okay, yeah, I've seen a lot of good things with this team, but I've also seen a lot of bad things with this team. I've thought that they were going to turn a corner, and then they go ahead and lose 5 in a row. I've thought that, their offense could be more consistent, and then they go and score 2 runs a game for like a 7-game stretch. The pitching's been really good, but the pitching has also not been good at times as well. That's what happens when you're a 500 team. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, and you need to kind of weather everything and be more consistent as a ball club. And that's where I'm at right now. Is I've seen a lot of good things with this team, a lot of things that I like over last year's team for sure, but I still need to see it. Just because they've swept the Oakland A's doesn't mean for me that I'm going to sit here and be like, that's all I needed to see.
No, but here's the thing. You always have to have the benefit of the perspective of where are they sitting. And this is an accurate statement. They're in the National League, right?
They're good. They're in a very good spot. I agree,
right.
Yeah.
So it's a favorable spot. Now you're right. They have a 513-ish winning percentage. If you multiply that out, it's 83.25 wins. That would be 1.25 more wins than a year ago. But the difference being, A, 83.25 wins was nearly enough to get into the postseason last year. And B, 83.25 wins this year is going to get you into the postseason.
Yeah.
I can just feel it. It doesn't seem like there's multiple teams in the National League that are going to play great baseball in the second half of the year. I mean, you have a majority of the National League under 500, and that's not the Padres, who are 37-35. My point is, if they do what they're doing, they'll be in the postseason. If they do better than what they're a game behind Atlanta right now for the top wild card, aren't they?
A game
and a half, something like that. It's got.
They've also played
close.
like 4 or 5 more games than
but
a lot of teams in baseball,
including Atlanta. They're the San Diego Padres.
They are the San Diego Padres, John.
They are 2 games behind Atlanta.
Okay.
A game and a half ahead of San Francisco and a game and a half ahead of St. Louis, and 2 games and 3 games ahead of other teams. My point is they're in a fine position. Yeah. They're in a fine position. If they continue to play like this, they'll be in a fine position as well.
Yeah.
So that's just the point.
And having a really good road trip here, and I don't know, maybe winning a series on the road versus the Philadelphia Phillies.
That'd be really nice.
Then my confidence for this team is definitely going to go up. But to sit here while still just 2 games over 500 after a sweep versus the A's, they're in a good spot, like you said, yes. But I still need to see it to believe it. I need to make sure this team isn't fooling us again from a standpoint of they have bad stretches and then right away, which is a credit to them, they have good stretches, but then they don't take advantage of those good stretches and make it last for a prolonged period of time. They kind of fumble and trip over themselves. And it's like you go into a series this weekend versus the Mets, who is a bad team. They're closer to the A's than they are to you. And you're a really good road team. You should try to take advantage of this series. Not that they should take advantage because it's baseball and anything can happen, but you should try to take advantage of it going into this weekend because you're playing a lesser team than you.
Just win 2 out of 3, and I think they'll continue down the path of being where they need to be. All right, Darnay Tripp, NBC7, joins us on the other side. He was at that Chucky Lozano introductory press conference earlier today. He's got thoughts, of course, on the Padres because he covers them. Also, on the talkback, Mike, what's your level of excitement for Chucky Lozano and Major League Soccer in San Diego? You can open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, and tap on that red talkback mic. We'll play back your 30-second responses later this hour. We have giveaways as well. But Darnay Tripp from NBC joins us next. All right, Darnay Trip, NBC7 was at the Chucky Lozano introductory press conference. We'll talk to him about the Padres as well, approaching the halfway point. That's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Padres, they have an off day today, coming off a sweep of the Oakland A's. They start a series in New York this weekend versus the Mets starting tomorrow night. San Diego FC announced the signing of Chucky Lozano. He will wear number 11 with the club. NBA last night, Celtics beat the Mavs to take a commanding 3-0 series lead. According to reports, the Lakers will interview JJ Redick this weekend for their head coaching job. And the U.S. Open is underway. Looking at the leaderboard, Patrick Cantlay leads at 5 under par. Rory and Bryson DeChambeau are tied at 3 under par. Summer is here at Toyota Carlsbad, and now you can save on tons and tons of new Toyotas with new Toyotas arriving daily. Save today on a great selection of new Toyota Tacomas. Details at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
All right, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back September 20th and 21st, T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage, live performances by Big Sean, Camila Cabello, Doja Cat, Gwen Stefani, many more. All right, our exclusive Capital One card holder pre-sale is live now. General public sale begins tomorrow. Darnay Trip, NBC7 on a busy day has fit us in. We appreciate that, Darnay. I need to start by asking about your busy day. How busy is it? You were at the Chucky Lozano press conference. Will you be at the event tonight? I know you have multiple children and a job. So walk us through your day and thanks for hopping on.
If we were, if I was on the live stream with you, if you could see me, what you see behind me is either the radio or the downtown skyline, maybe the marina. I just pulled up to the shell. So I was at the Chucky press conference this morning, got a chance to hear from him for the first time and spend a few minutes with him. And then now we are here at the shell where it is nice and quiet, but from my understanding, it won't be quiet very long once things get going later this evening. So a really cool day and excited to see. I haven't been to the shell, but the one time where I'm like, man, I wish I could have been there. There's been a few, But really, the first time was when John, you and your wife saw Nas here a couple
Yes.
summers ago. I was out of town, and I missed that. So I've been wanting to get to the show ever since, and here we are. So it should be a fun night.
So you did go to the Chucky press conference today at Snapdragon Stadium. You've been a lot of press conferences here in San Diego. How would you describe this one? It seemed like there was a lot of people there for Chucky.
I did, it's funny. I did look around at one point, and same setting that the Sean Lewis press conference was at, and that was well attended. And obviously, there's been a number of these for the Padres, and I would say there was probably a bigger group of, it's partially media and partially SDFC staff and others, and so there was a good group. I think obviously what makes this different from your typical Padres or just kind of San Diego media scrum is you have a lot of, Spanish speaking outlets, I think both kind of regional and national, that are here because of Chucky Lozano and his star power, so to speak. And so that was kind of the tone of the press conference, primarily for us non-Spanish speakers. Didn't get to glean as much as I would have liked. But it was, really cool, obviously, just kind of seeing the interest, and you get an idea of the scope of a player like Chucky Lozano and just the amount of interest, whereas it's typically just us in the San Diego media asking a few questions. It felt a little bit bigger from that standpoint, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that was just like him being the first big signee here for San Diego FC. Every soccer fan and people that know more about soccer than we do say this is a massive deal. So that's what it felt like a massive deal here to bring Chucky.
Yeah, it's definitely big. There's no question about it. And so I think that's kind of been pretty evident. And one of the things we're kind of learning and figuring out is just anytime you have a new team, it's one thing. I think when the wave came, everybody knows Alex Morgan, even if you're regardless of whether you're a sports fan. I think part of that is just obviously she's an American. Obviously, we're accustomed to seeing her, hearing about her during the World Cup and other big time tournaments. With players in MLS, with players that are prominent overseas that maybe don't play for the United States, if you're not as locked in kind of to the global game and stars for other country. Myself included, you're kind of learning about these guys on the fly. And, what you've learned with Chucky is just how well regarded he is, where he is in this stage in his career, and the fact that he's won championships everywhere. He's been around for a while. I mean, he was a teenager when he debuted for Mexico. And so, a really impressive guy that is very well thought of. And I think there's a reason why SDFC wanted to kind of plant their flag with him as their first designated player to kind of set the tone for the franchise going forward.
Darnay Tripp, NBC7 with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Now, I know Jim 2 weeks ago during his wedding got a little choked up and emotional. It's reasonable. Saw his wife for the first time, wedding dress. I'm an emotional guy.
What are you trying to say?
Oh, I had to keep it together. But here's what I'm trying to say. Chucky Lozano today got emotional. It wasn't necessarily during his remarks, was it, Darnay? Can you take us through the interaction there and what transpired with Chucky Lozano getting emotional at the press conference?
It was a little bit of both. And again, this is where, I should have taken Spanish in high school. Why did I take Latin in high school?
I took Latin too, man, for 2 years.
My mom is fluent in Spanish, and I didn't take Spanish in school. And this is one of my great life regrets. And so another situation where, with the help of others, I was able to glean a little bit what he was talking about in those moments. The first game, though, when Mohamed Mansour, the owner of San Diego FC, had a recorded message, he wasn't here in person, for Chucky, and Chucky started breaking. And from what I understand, the academy system with Right to Dream, there's some similarities to how he came up with the Chucky together. And so that seems to kind of strike a chord with him. The opportunities that young people are going to have that he had himself, that obviously benefited him and kind of accelerated his career. And so that's something that he's talked about. And I think I'm starting to realize just how much, it's not just a talking point from the team. That's something that really resonates with him. and was part of why he wanted to, do this opportunity. He also had his first coach there with him today, and so there was a portion of the Q&A where he got emotional right away and was choked up. I think just kind of talking about his coach and so, yeah, I mean, this is, look, we like to see athletes wear their emotions on their sleeves. Clearly, this is something that means something to the guy. And so to see that human side of him right away, I thought was pretty cool.
Padres got their first sweep yesterday, Darnado. I don't know if you knew that.
What did Chucky have to say about it?
Yeah, what did Chucky have to say about that one? No. Well, now they're 2 games over 500. They were 2 games over 500 last weekend after they actually lost the final game versus the Royals instead of sweeping them. So nothing's really changed from a standings point of view or a record-wise point of view. But I'm curious like, are you feeling better about this team now because they got their first sweep, or is it still like I need to see more consistency and they need to like distance themselves from this 500 mark?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think what the last few days maybe gives you, now granted, it is against the A's, but they still did something that they haven't been able to do, and that's obviously get a sweep and beat, a bad baseball team the way that they should have. Now, those games could have gone either way. But I think, again, we've talked about kind of the character. Mike Schill talked about the team is winning games like that. We've seen more of that this year than we saw last season, so that's encouraging. But I did find myself thinking, okay, maybe this is one of those springboard type series. And obviously, if they go to New York and lose 2 out of 3 going into a tough Philly series, then we're going to be more or less back to where we were. But I did find myself being a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more optimistic that, okay, maybe this is a team that now they got this monkey off their back, can kind of get on a bit of a roll, can win more consistently, continue to win series, and maybe, in doing so, like actually it have a tangible impact on their record rather than win 8 out of 10 series and it didn't seem like they really, moved the needle a whole lot in terms of where they are standing. So a lot of it is to be determined. The fact is there's still a pack of teams that's right behind them, and if 1 or 2 of them get hot, they could be in a tough spot. But I think that was really an encouraging sign and hopefully something they can build on. But as is always the case, like we'll find out what they do this weekend in New York, and we could be having a very different conversation on Monday if things don't go well for them in Queens.
So Darnay, tonight you're covering this event or you're attending this event?
Covering.
Yeah. What are you doing down there?
Yeah. What do you think? I'm just hanging out, John?
I don't know. I thought maybe you would be there like as a fan.
I am here in my professional capacity to do my best to bring the best coverage of day 1 of the Chucky Lozano era to the viewers and sports fans in San Diego.
Real quick before you go, your microphone's kind of in and out, but have they said anything about ticket sales? How they've done with ticket sales? Has the organization said like where they are with ticket deposits or anything like that?
I haven't heard in terms of like if they're at capacity or anything like that. It seems to be going well. I think to this point there was like the deposit that you could put in. Again, I haven't obviously kind of explored this myself. But I've got a coworker at the station that just met with a ticket representative about kind of getting a sense of, what packages are out there and that sort of thing. So those wheels seem to be turning, and I would imagine they do well, but I couldn't tell you just to what extent. But there definitely seems to be interest, and I think today's event kind of illustrated that as well.
No doubt about it. Darnay, we appreciate it. We know it is busy. Thank you for hopping on with us, and I will bother you again tomorrow.
Can't wait. Thanks, guys.
Darnay
Turn your
Tripp,
phone off, probably.
NBC 7.
Just mute our conversation.
Seriously. All right. What is your level of excitement for Major League Soccer and Chucky Lozano? You can hit us up on that Talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Tap the red Talkback mic. We'll play your 30-second responses on the other side. Plus, for Aztec basketball fans, don't believe everything you read on X, or really for anyone. Don't believe everything you read on X or Twitter. We'll explain next. That includes you, Jim. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim. I don't believe everything you read on social media. Aztec Basketball Edition, plus your talkbacks next. All right, we'll get your talkbacks momentarily. You can hit us up on the talkback mic. Open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button to move a 30-second talkback. We're asking today about your level of excitement for Major League Soccer and Chucky Lozano. So you've been on X before, Jim, presumably, Twitter?
Yeah.
You used to have a check mark.
I did, yeah.
In the good old days. When people talk about the good old days, they're talking about those days.
Right. One of my best friends at the wedding, who does not have Twitter or X, did not know that I don't have a blue check mark anymore.
You could buy one.
And I thought he wasn't going to be my friend anymore.
He's
like,
you.
Wait a second, you don't have a blue check mark?
Was that part of the equation? Because I think Aaron's friend said that when you started dating, you were a radio show guy, but I think they mentioned that you were verified on Twitter at the rehearsal dinner.
That was,
as in, would she have dated you if you weren't verified on Twitter?
It's a good question. Yeah, we're probably not here today.
We might not be here today.
I'm not wearing a ring today if I'm not verified.
You were kind of a big deal, and now you're like a deal.
I'm not even a deal.
But hear me out.
I'm like a whatever.
You know, there's a lot of interest. I'm not telling any of our listeners anything they don't know. There's a lot of interest in San Diego State men's basketball. I mean, they've been in the national championship and a Sweet 16 the last 2 years. They've been in 4 Sweet 16s since 2011.
John, you don't have to sell.
No, but just hear me out.
Yes, there's a lot of interest.
But there's an account on social media, and I shouldn't even do this.
Do it.
But there's an account, and it's not personal.
Job.
I'm not even going to mention the account. But there's an account on social media that said source. And remember, San Diego State has one spot available for next season, and they might be looking for like a wing scorer defender type, okay? Like a 3 or a 4 with size. And there's a really good player who played at UNLV last year. They were talented. His name is Keelan Boone. Played in the Power 5, played at UNLV last year, had a really good year for a pretty good team that made the NIT and actually made a run in the NIT. And he said, source, Keelan Boone is visiting San Diego State this weekend. So that's a significant story for San Diego State basketball fans. Now, in order to corroborate this, I went directly to a source, which would be San Diego State men's basketball. And this turned out to be inaccurate. And it's not just me saying that. There's others that cover the team, including Mark Ziegler, who joins the show all the time, that probably went to a similar source within the program. And we learned that this is inaccurate. Point being this, that first of all, you just don't know what you're getting into with social media. Not like everything we read there we take as factual. I mean, Ken Rosenthal could send out a tweet. It's not always a
I
certainty.
mean, Buster Olney can send out tweets.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
exactly. So you never know. And we've all been fooled. I mean, I've probably posted something before, even though we're not in the news breaking business, and then you find out that it's not exactly accurate. So, I get it. I'm not saying you have to be 100% accurate 100% of the time, but also, like, if you're gonna be in that space, you should be accurate more often than not. And also, if you're gonna say you have a source, who is the source? Because is the source more tied in than a source that's actually within the program?
Here's the thing. Anybody on any platform can say source so-and-so, 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 or whatever they're trying to report. In that case, you have to look at obviously who's reporting it over somebody just reporting something. So when it comes to really any San Diego State news of interest, really on social media for breaking news, there's kind of only one person I'm turning to. And that's Mark Ziegler. And like, if you want to break something, but you're not the break.
See, I won't break it. I may be aware of it, but I'm not in the business of breaking it.
Right. And then if you want to go to a bigger college basketball terms, there's obviously other,
sure, if there was something,
guys.
right. We might learn about something nationally involving San Diego State.
Right. But you have to understand where you're getting this information from. So you can have some random YouTuber just be like,
it's true,
source this, source that, and I have a couple thousand or whatever subscribers on my account, so you should believe me. And sometimes they might get lucky and get it right, or they whatever. But I'm not rolling with it. Like 6842 Padres fan said on Twitter or his live stream last night that the Padres are about to get Garrett Crochet.
Ben Dover, or all these accounts, right? Ben Dover says that Garrett Crochet is basically a formality at this point to the Padres, right?
Yeah.
We see accounts like that all the time.
Yeah, it's for that. I'm listening to certain people, and until they report it, like, we'll talk about it. Like, hey, is there something there? But to just be like, source factual, this person's getting traded, factual, this person's going to this campus to visit them. And
well, let me say it once and for all. According to what I know, and this could change, but again, kind of going directly to the program, if like it was reported Keelan Boone is visiting this weekend, that's not accurate. Now, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if they'll be involved in a conversation with him. He's a very good player. We saw play out at San Diego State last year. He's an outstanding player. But in terms of him visiting this weekend, that's inaccurate. So stay tuned. Again, he's a very good player, and maybe one day he ends up at San Diego State, but he's not visiting this weekend. All right, as we always do, we're going to get to talkbacks. Also coming up later in the show at 5:30, we're going to get to Ryan Harrington Golf Digest. Round one of the U.S. Open is it in the books? It's almost in the books.
Let me
pushing 7 o'clock Eastern.
Check here real quick. Almost
in the books.
Almost in the books. Everyone's kind of almost finishing up their round for the day. Rory is now tied for the lead.
Oh, wow. Which is what, 5 under?
5 under. Finished it at 65, posting a 65, so 5 under par there. Patrick Cantley's also at 5 under par. And you want to know where Xander is?
Is he even par?
He is even par on the day, finished shooting a 70. And my boy Tiger,
+4.
+4.
All right, so we asked you about your level of excitement or interest for Chucky Lozano and San Diego FC. Here was the talkback responses. Well, I'm excited. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm singing.
Well, I have to, for this situation, go off of what the diehards say. And if that person on the talkback kind of seems like they're a diehard and they're a big soccer fan, if they're excited about it, then I'm excited for them, and I'm excited to see what is going to transpire here. By no way am I going to say on the radio or anything like, this is a home run signing, because I don't know that. It's a home run signing to them. It's a home run signing
To who? To you?
To who? You? I meant like the hardcore soccer fan in town and of San Diego FC. So with that, I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see what could transpire here. And if they tell me it's going to be exciting, then like I'll take their word for it, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited for it. I agree with you, and I do think ultimately it will be a win. I don't know everything about it, but the fact that he's a Mexican national team player previously, we're 17 miles from the border or whatever it is.
Dude, the
I mean,
media
it just
at
makes a lot.
Snapdragon
Yeah,
was
it's all Spanish-speaking media. You're going to have a ton of people obviously coming from across the border to attend SDFC matches. All right, on the other side, we will get to the wrap at 5:30. Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest will join the show. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim is next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Padres, they have an off day today. They start a series in New York versus the Mets starting tomorrow, coming off their sweep versus the Oakland A's. NBA last night, Celtics beat the Mavericks to take a commanding 3-0 series lead there. San Diego FC announced the signing of Chucky Lozano today at Snapdragon Stadium. He will wear number 11. According to reports, the Lakers are going to interview J.J. Redick this weekend for their head coaching job. And this U.S. Open first round leaderboard right now, Patrick Cantlay and Rory McIlroy are leading the tournament at 5 under par. Xander Schauffele, after he won the PGA Championship right now at the U.S. Open, he finishes round at even, shooting a 70. Summer is here at Toyota Carlsbad, and now you can save on tons and tons of new Toyotas with new Toyotas arriving daily. Save today on a great selection of new Toyota Tacomas. Details at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. This hour, we have a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, which is underway on another gorgeous day here in Southern California. It's going on from now through July 7th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Let's look back, have some fun together, go retro. For tickets and info, sdfair.com. We'll give away those tickets coming up at 4:45. Now, I know you said in your update that Jack Cronin, and by I know you said this in your update, I know you didn't. Jack Cronin will have an exclusive 1-hour-long show tonight right here on San Diego Sports 760 detailing day one of the Chucky Lozano era.
Yeah, I did say that in my update.
When?
In this update?
Yeah,
Like-
go back and listen.
Like today?
Yeah.
This one?
So 1 full hour, Jack Cronin in studio with sound from today involving Chucky Lozano.
Yeah, that just puts Jack in very exclusive company with like Brian Dutcher and all the other shows that Jim forgets to promote in his updates.
Right. That's a good point. Whether it be the Brian Dutcher show, the future Sean Lewis show, the prior Brady Hoke Rocky Long shows. He used to forget to promote the Power Hour, which he hosted.
What?
Remember the Power Hour?
I do remember the Power Hour, but I didn't forget that.
Sometimes you may have.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Do you still do the Power Hour?
You must not
You and
listen.
Ernie?
Yeah, me and Ernie every night.
Every night at
6 to
6 p.m.?
7. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't listen?
I do.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, 6 p.m. every night. All right.
The
Two-
Power Hour.
Anyway, Jack Cronin will be here at 6 p.m. with more on Major League Soccer coming to San Diego and Chucky Lozano. Again at 5:30, Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest on round 1 of the U.S. Open. Expectations for this weekend as well at Pinehurst. But right now, let's get to this.
Who's going to win the U.S. Open?
Right now, I'm gonna go with Rory.
Really?
He's tied for the lead, 5 under par. He has not won a major in a while. Needs a win badly, and I'm gonna go with Rory. I'll take Rory as the winner, which means he's not gonna win.
Did you follow the drama involving, and I don't normally do this with athletes, but I will with Rory McIlroy because it's kind of public, the drama involving his relationship, his marriage?
Yes.
They had decided to get divorced, have a child, but 2 days before the U.S. Open announced they were getting back together.
So when he wins, does his wife that they were gonna get
Yeah.
a divorce with, like, meet him on the 18th
I don't know.
green?
I really don't. It's an interesting
Like, oh, I'm so
story that has
happy.
played out publicly, and it's been a really weird story to track. And it's not every day you hear about that, a public figure like Rory McIlroy or anyone that, hey, we're getting divorced. Oh, no, we're not. That's not every single day. But yeah, 500 today. I'm going to go with Bryson DeChambeau, who I think is a stroke off the lead and played very well at the PGA Championship, nearly beat Xander Schauffele there on 72nd hole, essentially, or with that really brilliant final round. So I'll say Bryson DeChambeau. He's capable. He's done it previously, and I think he's only 1 stroke back right now. Next question.
Christian McCaffrey is the new cover athlete for Madden 25. Jim, how worried about the Madden curse are you?
Here's the thing.
They're already cursed.
So,
They're
so
already
worried
cursed,
about
so
it
it
that
doesn't
you
matter.
didn't mention it 2 days ago.
What's going to happen? They don't win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're going to lose the Super
I mean,
Bowl in
different.
a more depressing fashion.
Double overtime?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing that you
It's
could
true.
do
It's a good point.
to make me feel like this is worse than it's already has been for this team. Yeah, does it suck? Yes. Do I think this is not a great thing? Yes, I do. Do I believe in curses a little bit?
I do.
Yeah, I kind of do. But it's what has happened that's worse. Oh, I know. They just lost the Super Bowl in overtime to Patrick Mahomes, and they chose to take the ball first. Oh, that's not bad enough for you? Oh, they've lost 2 Super Bowls to Patrick Mahomes in the last, 8 years. Oh, that's not bad enough. They have lost 3 Super Bowls in the last 2 decades. Oh, that's not bad enough. They haven't won a Super Bowl in 20 plus years.
I don't think they could fit all that on the cover.
Probably
No,
not. I mean, it's not
no.
like it's the most cursed franchise. I mean, they do have 5 rings, but yeah, the last 30 years haven't gone as well as maybe the prior 30 years. Here's the thing that's so interesting about the Niners is you think hangover maybe lost Super Bowl in that fashion.
Madden curse.
But then you look at now you have the Madden curse. But things like ESPN's FPI, for whatever it's worth, actually give the Niners a better chance of winning the Super Bowl than the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, it is San Francisco as the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl, not Kansas City or someone in the AFC. So I know they were heavily favored a year ago to get to a Super Bowl, and they did. I think they will be fairly heavily favored to get out of the NFC this year as well.
I tell you what, even though they're dealing with the Super Bowl hangover off the arguably one of the worst losses in franchise history,
NFL history,
and the Madden curse, they're also dealing with they better win it this year, because if they don't, there is a 0% chance of them keeping this nucleus roster together.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're looking at what the wide receivers are making, if you're looking at what the quarterbacks are making, just with Trevor Lawrence moments ago signing a $275 million contract, $200 million guaranteed. Brock Purdy's a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. He's going to get the same amount of money, and that's going to make it pretty much impossible for them to keep all of these good players together. So they got 1 year, and they're dealing with a Super Bowl hangover and a Madden curse. So good luck.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
With the Madden curse, McCaffrey's going to get an injury so rare, it's going to make Porzingis' injury look like a sprained
More
ankle.
rare than that.
Yeah.
By the way, would you like your chances if you played the Chiefs again?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Next question.
The Big 12 Conference is considering naming rights. What naming rights partner would make the most sense?
So they're talking about changing the name of the conference truly from the Big 12 to the All-State 12.
Yeah.
That's an actual sponsor that they've spoken with. It's not guaranteed to be All-State. It could be another. Apparently, Globe Life is talking to Conference USA about changing Conference USA to Globe Life Conference USA.
Yeah, just slap a sponsor on everything.
Right.
I thought this was pretty funny from the DraftKings official X Twitter account.
What'd they say?
They quote tweeted Pete Thamel's tweet about this.
Mm-hmm.
And they said 25,000 likes and I'll buy the Big 12 LMAO. And they put a Big 12 with the green
cool
and a little DraftKings logo on it.
That's super cool.
Right now they're at 6.1K likes. I would hit the like
Dude, they
button
said
there.
this
Well,
could
that's
get
like
them.
when people always try to get Pornhub to buy the stadium.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen
They
with the Big 12.
almost got the arena fee for the Miami Heat 1 year. They had a deal. Well, Bang Bros.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this apparently will net the Big 12 between $30 and $50 million per year. They're trying to make up this gap between themselves and the SEC and the Big 10. I mean, the thing is, I think it's fairly smart. Like we talked about it, I think off air, maybe when Darren was in here. At one point, Winston sponsored the NASCAR circuit. There was the Barclays Premier League at one point. So it's not unprecedented. It just kind of tells you a little bit about the state of college athletics and keeping up with the Joneses. But with Brett Yormark, who's the commissioner of the Big 12, this would not surprise me at all. I would guess that this does happen.
For me, the weird thing is, you're like, oh, well, what are you going to associate with the Big 12? Everything I associate with Big 12 is gone. It's like, oh, Texas, Oklahoma. Well,
Right.
no, wait, hold on. Nebraska trip. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Now it's like just Dr. Pepper, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good
There's
one.
no point in getting upset or saying I'm not going to watch anymore because
right. No, I agree with that.
because things are sponsored or the jerseys have jersey patches on it with sponsors
Mhm.
or
Fields
have logos with sponsors on it. It's kind of the new age that we're living in and what's going to be for the foreseeable future. Yes, you have a stain on your shirt.
I don't think is it a stain?
That's
I had this on all day.
That's a stain. Yeah.
Lord.
God, what a slob.
But it's kind of just deal with it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
All day when I walked in earlier,
All
you
day.
saw this?
I thought it was like a little watermark. And I was like, oh, it's
No.
going to dry.
Lord.
Has not dried.
Good thing we're on radio.
I real quick, I just don't want it to get as bad as like NASCAR, to where it's like before you say anything, you have to slap the name of 16 different sponsors on you. Like they
I have
can't
some
just,
bad news for you, Brent.
well, no, but you like I used to have to run the board for NASCAR to where they couldn't just say, oh yeah, or the Ford Taurus is running great. It's like the Office Depot,
Ford Taurus.
Kool-Aid, Pizza Hut, Office Max Ford is. They have to throw all that stuff in there. It gets super annoying.
He's
So I
gone to
hope
the
it doesn't
National
get that
Car
bad.
Rental Pit to.
Yes.
It's amazing how
Yes.
the play-by-play guys on radio are able to work it all in.
Oh yeah,
It's
I know.
also amazing how the drivers in their post-race interviews are able to also work it all in. It's fascinating. All right, let's get to our final question.
Do the Lakers look bad if they hire JJ Redick? Is it bad if I just want him out of the announcing booth so someone hire him?
I saw a tweet the other day. It was pretty funny. Listening to JJ Redick makes me actually miss Mark Jackson. Like the way JJ Redick does everything, he goes, just ISO play from the corner wing down screen, and Mark Jackson would be like, hand down, man down. Like literally, that's what he would do. And JJ Redick's trying to go super like in depth, in the weeds, play calling, and I think fans just kind of just don't want to hear it. Like they just want to watch the game and just not have you try to like explain it to them all the time. But I think if the Lakers hire JJ Redick, how does this not look bad? Because right off the jump, the very first question to JJ Redick is, you were the second choice. How does that feel?
Yeah, but honestly, that's accurate. But the Lakers should be shooting for someone like JJ Redick. It's all holdover stuff. All of this is holdover. If they actually would have gotten their first choice, so to speak, of Dan Hurley, even that isn't a perfect fit for all the reasons we've illustrated. You got this aging roster that may turn over in the next 12 to 24 months. It's not a perfect fit for anyone. So you're just looking for a holdover. Why would any of the premier coaches in basketball want the job? They don't. Dan Hurley was kind of lured into this opportunity. He said it wasn't a leverage play. By the way, he's spoken to everyone in the media today. But if you're the Lakers, who are you really looking for? I would also go with the unproven guy. You're just looking to buy 18 months because you're going to hire someone new when the LeBron James era ends anyway.
And he was on Dan Lemitard today.
Yes, Dan Hurley.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he basically said, without just flat out saying it, that there was a number out there.
He could have been had, and we said that.
Yeah.
There's a number that you can't say no to in life.
And the
They didn't go there.
Lakers undershot that number by a lot.
What do you think the reason is there? Because they, in their heart of hearts, know who they are right now, and why reach on coach when you're still going to be at the end of the day that team?
If he's your number one choice, money's not a factor.
But
you go get that person.
But a week ago, you're like, what's he gonna mean?
It doesn't matter what I think. The Lakers, if they believe that he's going to help them take them over the top,
right?
Then and he's your number one choice, then you shouldn't have this like idea of, well, we're going to shoot at this number. Like, no, you ask Dan Hurley, blank check, what do you want? And then you go get him.
I think it just reeks of the arrogance of the Lakers organization. In a way, it reminds me of like Notre Dame, to where, Notre Dame, let's be honest, they haven't really been relevant in almost 40 years, 35 years, something like that. But, they still think they're super relevant. And, sure, they won in the, 2020 thing, if you want to even count that.
The bubble.
But, the bubble. But other than that, going back to Shaq, they haven't really been that relevant the last few years, to where maybe they just have this overinflated opinion of, no, you might have asked for, just for discussion, you might have asked for 90 million. Well, we're just going to give you 60, and then you'll just have the honor of coaching the Lakers, and that'll be worth like the extra 30 million.
I forgot where I heard, and I have no clue who said this. It might have been Jason Smith, but I don't even want to attribute it to him because I don't think he said it. Okay. But someone somewhere said what I'm about to say. That's my attribution, which is don't be fooled. The Lakers don't have the money you think they have.
It was Jason Smith.
Was it? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I said, well, I didn't realize that. But if his statement is accurate, that's a little unique. As in, like, they're not, when you think of professional sports franchises in America, he was like, they are not the organization they are perceived to be. You believe they have unlimited resources when it comes to dollars. But again, according to his argument, I don't know if it's accurate or not. It's like they can't just reach for the stars. They're not just going to throw out $25 million. They don't have it. Which I was like, oh, is that accurate? Is that right? So is that the best they could have done for Dan Hurley?
If Jeannie Buss, with all of her contacts and with everybody that she knows, if she can't put like a big ass
$25 million in front of him,
she can't put so-called unlimited money on the table, then they need to sell the franchise. Because
but had you heard that?
Yeah,
then?
I did. And I mean, I get it, but the Lakers are valued as the second highest NBA team in basketball.
To the Warriors?
The Warriors are the first.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You're welcome. Yeah. But still, you're valued at like how many billions of dollars?
Right. 3.
You can get money. You can pull out a loan. It's okay. You probably can recoup it.
That shocked me though. And again, I don't know its exact like legitimacy. Because there's other teams that are spending more than $70 million of their head coach in the NBA right now, like the Detroit Pistons.
They're paying LeBron like $50 million a year.
Yeah, but that's all within the cap structure.
I know it is.
All teams are within the cap structure. When you go to coaching, you're reaching into a different pool.
Again, if Jeannie Buss is operating,
I agree with you,
under the notion that they're cap strapped and they don't have money, then Jeannie Buss needs to sell the franchise.
That's not going to happen.
It will never happen.
Yeah. But what is the motivation then if it's not money? To your point, I agree with you. Let's just talk it through. Okay, we're the Lakers. We can find the money. This is who we want. He says there's a number he can't say no to, but they don't reach it. Why?
Well, they already screwed themselves. 1, letting this get out. 2, the number getting out. That was the worst part of it all.
The number wasn't overly appealing.
Once the number got out, you're screwed.
Like, we offered $12 million a year, 6th highest paid coach in the NBA. I'm like, 6th?
Yeah. Do we know what the number was?
6 for 70, just under 12. I'm like, that sounds. Again, we don't take it and we'd be set for life, but you got to put yourself in those shoes. Monty Williams is making more money than that. Monty Williams is a good coach, but you want the best in college and you're the LA Lakers, you got to go buy it. Like everything in LA. It's not cheap.
No.
It costs money.
Yep. And if you are expecting to go out and get the number 1 collegiate coach in basketball who just won back-to-back national championships, you better not come in under.
I agree with you.
And guess what they did? They went in under. And now, because this leaked so easily,
right?
I mean, it's such a they just took over the NBA Finals.
The whole thing. You're so right. Every game, it's
Lakers.
It's every game.
They're the number 1. Now it's because of LeBron. But even without LeBron, that franchise and that brand and that logo is always going to be the number 1 topic. Just like how the Knicks are talked about all the time as well.
JJ Redick the day of Game 4, and the Celtics will win the NBA Finals.
He'll be signing off, and as soon as he signs off,
I signed.
I just accepted the Lakers job, and instead of praising the Celtics for winning their first championship in however long and winning banner at 18, and this core finally getting over that hump, well, the Lakers just signed JJ Redick.
Like if you think about it, so you had massive Woj bombs. Game 1 was the first on Hurley. Game 2, there was additional reporting. Oh, he's torn. It's 50-50. We'll know Monday. Then Wednesday, nobody predicts this. But the truth is the number 1 headline in sports was Jerry West passing on Wednesday. It was. Yeah. It was in Game 3.
This was a bad series, too. So.
And now it's turned into this awful series where you've never had a team in the history of the NBA come back from 3-0. So you can't fake it here. Not going to get people to tune in. Just maybe there's a hope. No. And now Game 4, everyone's going to be talking about JJ Redick tomorrow is going to be the next Lakers head coach.
Have we gotten into Game 7s? We got 1 Game 7, right?
In the NBA playoffs?
Yeah.
I'm sure in all the series there's been one.
Well,
Knicks, Pacers.
Knicks, Pacers. Pacers kind of blew the doors off the Knicks in the 7th game.
They did. It was not even close. But
yeah, this is not compelling. This Game 4 rating, this Friday night rating, for whatever it's worth, is not going to be good. No matter who wins. It cannot be good. Friday night, a 3-0 series can't be good.
But I mean, just quickly back to the Lakers with JJ Redick. once you don't get Dan Hurley, whoever you do hire, it's
as
not
good.
going to look good, and it will be bad. It just is not going to be a good PR, whatever you
Hard
want
to spin.
Yeah, you can't spin it. He is the second choice, whoever they get, and that's not going to go over well.
All right, so we've been talking about these NBA finals now. It really has not been competitive. It's now Boston a game away from winning it in, sweep, potentially in Dallas. Brian Windhorst last night, if you missed it, I'm sure a number of you have heard it had a remarkable evisceration of Luka Doncic.
Evisceration.
I mean, he did. I mean, because it wasn't a hot take. It's the way he said it that was so damning of Luka. Do you agree? You'll hear from Brian Windhorst on the other side. Plus, coming up this hour, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair, going on now through July 7th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Tickets and info at sdfair.com. We'll give those away around 4:45, and at 5:30 on the show, Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest on round one of the U.S. Open. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, fair or unfair, Brian Windhorst on Luka Doncic. You'll hear it on the other side. Plus, tickets to the San Diego County Fair this hour.
All right, this update is brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Padres start a road trip tomorrow in New York as they'll take on the Mets, coming off of their first sweep of the year yesterday versus the Oakland A's. Moving over to soccer today, San Diego FC announced the signing of Chucky Lozano. He'll wear number 11 with the club. NBA last night, Celtics beat the Mavericks to take a commanding 3-0 series lead. And according to reports, the Lakers are going to interview J.J. Redick this weekend for their head coaching job. NFL news, the Jags have signed Trevor Lawrence to a $275 million contract extension, $200 million of that guaranteed. U.S. Open first round underway. It's in the books. Patrick Cantlay and Rory are tied to the lead, top leaderboard with a 5 under par. And tonight, 6 p.m., 6 to 7, Jack Cronin will do a special 1 hour San Diego FC Chucky Lozano soccer hour here on San Diego Sports 760. Summer is here at Toyota Carlsbad, and now you can save on tons and tons of new Toyotas with new Toyotas arriving daily. Save today on a great selection of new Toyota Tacomas. Details at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
That's December 20th. Team in Vegas, Doja Cat, Gwen Stefani, and more. Our exclusive Capital One cardholder pre-sale is live now. General public on sale begins tomorrow. Your chance to win tickets, by the way, to the San Diego County Fair coming up in about 15 minutes. And Ryan Harrington, Golf Digest, will join us at 5:30. So, on one hand, the Dallas Mavericks are in the NBA Finals. That's good, right? There's only 2 teams there.
Theoretically, yeah.
On one hand, Luka Doncic is one of the top handful of players in the NBA.
Theoretically, yeah.
On the other hand, is what was said by Brian Windhorst last night following this Game 3 loss. Luka fouls out, pouting towards the officiating. They had to replay a foul call that he clearly fouled out on. This was Brian Windhorst last night on Luka. Let's hear it, then react.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect that Luka fell onto the ground there in an unacceptable position to put himself in with 4 minutes left with 5 fouls, and then immediately looks at the bench and says, "You better bleeping challenge it," as if it's the bench's fault that he just made a terrible play. I'm standing here in the Mavericks tunnel. Over there is the Celtics tunnel. That's where the winners are. If Luka's ever going to be a winner coming out of this tunnel here, he is going to have to use what's happened in this finals as a learning experience. His defensive performance is unacceptable. He is a hole on the court. The Celtics are attacking him. They are ahead in this series because they have attacked him defensively. And you've got a situation here where Luka is complaining about the officiating. They have begged him. They have talked with him. They have pleaded with him. He is costing his team because of how he treats the officials. He's a brilliant player. He does so many things well. They are here because of how he did. His performance in this game is unacceptable, and the reason why the Mavericks are not going to win. He's got to get over this. And the fact that he came out after the game and blamed the officials showed me he's nowhere close yet. So maybe over the summer, somebody will get to him, because nobody with the Mavericks or anybody else in his life has. And that's where the Mavericks are at this point. They're never going to get to this tunnel with the trophy if he doesn't improve those aspects of his game.
Tell us how you really feel.
Shots fired.
Man.
Ooh.
See, right. And it wasn't like this hot take where he got loud. I mean, that's not Brian Windhorst, but man, he just went after him.
Yeah.
For me, it almost comes off as they were hyping up this series so much, and now him and Kyrie just came out and disappointed. So now it's like they're mad because we hyped this series up so much, and now you both disappointed us, and now I look bad because I hyped you and Kyrie up about what a great series it was going to be, and now you just let us down, and now the finals is ruined.
Part of his take is not wrong. He does complain way too much. He can't play defense. Now, maybe that's part of it. Part of the, him being injured is the reason why. Wasn't he almost downgraded to doubtful for game 2? And he looked like he can't move. He looks like he's carrying a lot,
he's getting pain
20-pound backpack on his back there.
Right.
Still putting up 30
Still
points. Still scores a
Mm-hmm.
bunch. I'd be curious to see what he would have done if he was fully healthy in this series, but we know he's not. But that is no excuse for his constant bitching and crying to the refs every single time down the court. That will have to change, because if that does not change, you're right. I mean, Windhorst is right. He's not going to be, unless he's with a super team, he's not going to be in the winning locker room. He's not going to hold up the Larry O'Brien trophy, because while he is a great player that scores a bunch of points, he still has to work a lot on things that hurt him on the court.
Even if he did, though, here's the thing that wasn't mentioned by Brian Windhorst. No matter what played out with Luka last night, or even in the series, Boston's a better team.
Way better.
Even if Dallas kept Luka on the floor and won yesterday, there is a very high percentage chance Boston ultimately, at the end of this whole thing, wins it.
Yeah.
We've watched it play out. They led by 20-something points last night. Now, credit to Dallas for getting back into the game, but again, they had a huge lead in a game Dallas had to win. You could listen, it's fair to be critical of Luka, I'm sure, or teams that are trailing in series 3-0. At the end of the day, Boston is better, no matter what's playing out here with Luka. The complaining, the fact that he hasn't been fully healthy, whatever you want to say, Boston's just the better team. Now, I'm sure some of the criticism, if not all of it, is fair, but even if he was playing at this elite level and there was nothing to complain about Luka, I think over a 7-game series, this is just, it's Boston's time. They're the better team.
Like, getting to the finals is an accomplishment, but I heard Colin Cowherd say, I think this morning, and he's absolutely right. Finals, bad performances or whatever, like bad finals, they stick with you, whether you like it or not. And until you get over that hump, this finals is going to stick with Luka in a kind of bad way, from a standpoint of his complaining, right? And not playing defense. Like, those things are going to stick with Luka, and this is going to be a stain on his career until he gets over that hump and wins a finals. Like right now, Kyrie, he's not had a good series. He had a good game last night from a scoring standpoint, but overall, this has been a bad series for Kyrie. Guess what Kyrie has?
He's got a ring.
He's got a ring. He's got one of the most iconic
down.
shots in the history of basketball. So for him, we're not sitting here talking about Kyrie the same way we're talking about Luka. And that's the thing with Luka, is he is now going to go through a long summer of a lot of criticism, and it's how he responds and if he can get over that hump ever. Jason Tatum, he was dealing with the same thing. Guess what? He's going to win a ring in a couple days.
And you can't just run this back because Kyrie's in his 30s.
Yeah.
Like this, they'll just be better next year, will they? I mean, Luka, like you said, Luka and Kyrie, it's amazing it's worked this well, truthfully. They're in the NBA Finals. We didn't know that was going to play out that way. But Kyrie's not getting any younger. So if you just run this thing back, are they better off a year from now? What do you got, bro?
So if Luka gets a ring, then he can complain about the refs all the time?
No.
LeBron does that all the time.
No.
LeBron walks out on press conferences all the time when he complains about the refs, and nobody says anything about that.
No, what I am talking about is his not on the court, him not playing defense. Okay. That's costing his team, and it's putting him in a bad light as a player. But also, I think the complaining part is taking him out of the game. I don't think it ever took LeBron out of games when he complains to the ref, because he still has won how many championships?
Yeah, that's the thing. LeBron is like different from all the other players. Your point's valid, but it's like he's different than everyone.
And
there's like this year, how many press conferences did he walk out on at the end of the game because he was mad? And that one game they didn't challenge it, and he threw a fit.
It's like he's got his own rules. It's LeBron James. It's 40.
He's won 4 titles.
Is that all he's won?
It's all he's won, yeah.
But he's gonna go down as good as there's been, right? So like it's a different. Everyone else is trying to get anywhere near him, so it's his own world, and he's kind of creating the rules.
Yeah, it's annoying when LeBron does it, but LeBron's also won, and Luka hasn't. And when Luka complains, it looks like he is completely taken out of the game. He stops and he doesn't play defense.
Dude, the review last night, because I was watching that live. And when they reviewed that, I'm like, why are we reviewing? Like, this is like a patented, easy foul call. There would be no reason. It would have been absurd to reverse this foul call. He just fouled him. He was right in the way. He didn't move his feet. He fell down. There was contact. And like Brian Windhorst said, he immediately looked to the bench and said, review that. The interesting thing about that is later in the fourth, they could have reviewed something, but they couldn't because they had lost the review. And that was on him too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long summer for Luka. and this is a stain on Luka's
Now,
career
could he
so
still
far.
nice 25?
Yeah.
We don't know where he goes, Dallas for forever or not. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know the future. I'm saying with Luka, I don't know what they're going to do to build around him, but it's never easy. Like we pretend, oh, he just get a ring, but the rings are dominated by few players. Like LeBron dominates them, Steph has dominated them. Like, there's these eras of time. Shaq, Kobe. It's not like you just, we'll just stumble into one. It's easier said than done.
And the West right now is
We've
kind
been
of
saying
wide
for
open,
right?
It is interesting when you look at this playoffs. I consider it to be a very it's not been a memorable playoffs at all.
Not at all.
Like rare. Like I'm not going to remember this playoffs.
Right. Like what happened?
Like, huh? Like, yeah, you'll remember the Celtics
Boston,
won
yeah,
because they're a big name, but they're about to go 16-2 if they win game 4
Wow.
in the postseason. 16-2.
Speaking to my point, they're just good.
And in recent memory of the last 25 years, John, only 2 teams have had a better record than 16-2 to win a
Golden
championship.
State
And the Lakers, when they went 15-1 in that year that they faced off
beat the Sixers.
Yeah. 2 teams with a better record in a postseason right now than the Celtics of this year if the Celtics win game 4.
Does that speak to the historically good Celtics or the historically bad East? Plus playing a very, as far as finals opponents go, Dallas isn't the fiercest opponent in the West.
They have superstars. They have Hall of Famers, but
they do. Yeah, sure.
not
And
like
they
a
play
great
more
team.
games than they used to. Because like the Jordan Bulls, they didn't do 7 for each one, so they would play less games.
True.
But those Bulls teams, I don't think ever went like.
Was there a
They
15-1 team in there?
didn't, but I'm just saying that they didn't do best of 7 the whole time because it was like 3-5.
Has anyone ever been perfect? No, because Moses Malone said faux, but they lost 1 game.
Yeah.
Has anyone
No,
ever been perfect? I don't think so.
No one's been
Yeah, I don't
perfect.
think so. All right, on the other side, call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Great giveaway. First 2 callers will be contestants for sports trivia. You need to call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Here's the number, 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. We're giving away a free 4-pack of tickets to the fair, which is underway through July 7th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Let's look back, have some fun together, and go retro. Tickets and info at sdfair.com. 877-767-4760. That's next on Jon and Jim. All right. We've got the giveaway, the San Diego County Fair tickets on the other side in the 5 o'clock hour. Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest joins us. Stay with us. Again, Jack Cronin with a Chucky Lozano special right here on San Diego Sports 760 coming up at 6 p.m. tonight, 1 full hour with Kogo's own Jack Cronin, who was on earlier today with Darren Smith, is right now preparing maybe for the newscast on Kogo, but also for a show on San Diego Sports 760. 7 right here. Chucky Lozano has been introduced to the media today at Snapdragon Stadium. And then tonight is going to be introduced to the fan base, and he'll be with maybe 10,000 or so at the Rady show.
Are they there to see Chucky or are they there to see Darnay?
That's an easy one.
Yeah, I know. Darnay is
That's
easy.
an easy
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what the answer is, but it's easy. It's one or the other. It's either Darnay
Well,
Chucky.
who's performing tonight?
Lunai. Am I saying that right?
I'm sorry,
Lunai.
I've never.
You don't know Lunai?
I don't think I've ever heard of Lunai. Unfortunately.
Okay. Well, I don't know if he's heard of you.
Well, he probably never has.
Right.
It's okay.
He probably wouldn't go to the Shell to see you perform.
I'm not taking exception to that.
So you're going down there tonight, you said?
No,
you
John.
said you're not going down there.
Well, if it starts at 6.
There's 7.
Okay. Doors open at 6 or gates open at 6.
Yeah. And the show ends at 5:55.
Right.
And the thing starts at 7 or 7:30.
There's this thing called traffic, and there's this.
It's going to take an hour to get to the Shell from here. It takes like 15 minutes.
Are you going?
No. But I got a kid.
I have a wife.
Nah. Similar, but different.
Similar, but different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the answer is no.
The answer is no.
Okay.
No. I'll look at all the highlights.
Oh, I know you will in real time.
Right.
All right. On the other side, Ryan Harrington will join us from Golf Digest at 5:30. We're with you until 6 p.m. Right now, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Victor and Tommy. Victor, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I'll take Jon.
All right, Victor and Jon.
Victor and Jon, Tommy and Jim. Tommy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Brent, what's the question?
All right, guys, the Padres open up a series tomorrow against the Mets in New York. Today's question: who are the top 10 home run hitters in Mets franchise history? So we're looking for anyone in the top 10 for all-time home runs in Mets franchise history.
All right. Tommy, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
Give me Daryl Strawberry.
Daryl Strawberry on the list.
I think he was just inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame.
I don't know if he
Good guess.
Good guess.
Yeah.
Victor, you're up next. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you choose to use it.
All right, give me Pete Alonso.
Pete
Is
Alonso.
he top 10? Wow.
Already. Tommy, back to you. Second guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it. What are you going to do?
What about Carlos Beltran?
Carlos Beltran. Good guess.
Look at these guys. A couple of Mets fans.
Victor, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Okay, how about David Wright?
David Wright
Great guess.
on the list. Good job. Tommy, back to you. Final guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it. What do you got?
I have no idea, but I'm gonna guess Keith Hernandez.
Keith Hernandez. The broadcaster, no.
It's a good Seinfeld guess, though.
Yes. Okay. The door is open right now for Victor.
And he has a lifeline. So if you want to use your lifeline, you can use it, or you can take a guess here. What do you got?
Wait, did anyone say Mike Piazza?
Yeah, that would have been my lifeline.
No one said Mike Piazza.
Is that you want to go with?
I think.
Yeah, I think so. Let's
gonna
just go
take
with it.
Yeah.
Boom for the win. Just like that. Team John.
Tommy, man, you had a lifeline.
What would you say? Mike
I
Piazza?
said Mike Piazza. I had,
Yeah,
David, I had
that's-
David Wright, Mike Piazza, and also Carlos Beltran is my guess.
Honestly, I don't know where else to go from there.
Gary.
Gary who?
Gary. Never mind.
Gary Cohen, the broadcaster?
No, not
play-by-play
Cohen.
guy?
Who's the catcher? Not Gary. Is it Gary Carter? No.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
Gary
no, it's-
Carter.
it's
Yeah.
Gary Carter.
Yeah.
That's
Is he on the
right.
list?
No,
Okay.
No.
but you had the right name.
Man, I don't know where else I'd go. What do we got, Brent?
All right, Straw was first. David Wright was second. Piazza was third. Alonso was fourth. Another hotel.
Howard Johnson.
That's right. He's number 5. Dave Kingman, enemy of the Cubs. He's number 6. Then Carlos Beltran. Michael Conforto is number 8.
Wow.
Lucas Duda was
Lucas
number
Duda.
9.
This is like the Padres list.
It's funny you say
Right.
that. Number 10 is Todd Hundley, 124.
Yeah. I mean, so the most home runs in Mets history is how many?
Daryl Strawberry with 252.
Yeah.
Padres are
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Padres are in what? The
David
mid
Wright was
ones?
close.
164 or 162
Machado's coming. Might take
He's-
another year.
or 2.
Yeah, I think he's within 20. I think he's within
Who gets there
20 of the
first,
franchise.
Toddy or Manny?
It'll be Manny.
Yeah.
It should be Manny because I think he's got. We need to look that up. How many more home runs has Manny hit as a Padre than Toddy? It's a good number, I think. 20, 30 more. Something like that. Maybe more than that.
Who's going to get there first, Toddy or
Donnie Barrels.
Oh, Donnie Barrels.
Donnie
has hit
Barrels
3
is-
as a Padre. That's a good point.
Here he comes.
All right, Victor, congratulations. You've won a 4-pack to the San Diego County Fair. It's going on right now through July 7th, Del Mar Fairgrounds. Let's look back, have some fun together, and go retro. For tickets and info, go to sdfair.com. Another chance to win tomorrow. Next hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to Third Eye Blind, plus Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest on the U.S. Open will join us at 5:30. On the other side, back to the Padres on an off day. Looking ahead to the Mets series. That's next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relax and friendly since 1972. Padres have an off day today. They're in New York, though, to get ready for their series starting tomorrow night versus the Mets. Padres are coming off their first sweep of the year versus the Oakland A's. They're now 2 games over 500. Moving over to soccer, San Diego FC, they announced today the signing of Chucky Lozano. He's going to wear number 11 for the club. Coming up at 6 p.m. tonight, Jack Cronin will have a special soccer hour from 6 to 7 talking about the signing today with Chucky Lozano. NBA last night, Celtics beat the Mavericks to take a commanding 3-0 series lead. They're about to win their 18th championship this weekend. According to reports, the Lakers will interview JJ Redick this weekend also for their head coaching job. And the U.S. Open is underway, first round. Patrick Cantlay and Rory McIlroy lead the tournament at 5 under par. Summer is here at Toyota Carlsbad, and now you can save on tons and tons of new Toyotas with new Toyotas arriving daily. Save today on a great selection of new Toyota Tacomas. Details at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today. Dang it!
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim, but not the final hour of live sports talk today.
Oh, you're going to say not the final hour of life.
No, well, I don't think.
Oh.
But Jack Cronin has the special you just referenced. 1 full hour.
Yeah.
Talking Chucky, San Diego FC,
Chucky,
Major League Soccer.
Chucky.
Special guest Jonathan Rifkin, Darren Smith.
Oh.
And he just tweeted and tagged San Diego Sports 760. So retweet Jack. So that's from 6 to 7. Now, Ryan Harrington is with Golf Digest. He's been on the show a number of times over the years. And he will join us at 5:30 because they're underway at Pinehurst number 2. Round 1 is complete. So we'll talk about the U.S. Open with Ryan Harrington coming up at 5:30. Now, we started the show by telling you that it was a Padres off day, but that doesn't mean there isn't news because The Athletic reported earlier today, Jim Bowden, that not only are the Padres interested in starting pitching, A.J. Preller has already spoken with GMs about starting pitching. Talked to the Tigers about Jack Flaherty. He's talked to the Marlins. We know that already because of Luis Ariz, but about Jesus Luzardo. He's talked with the Chicago White Sox. I told you about that. Garrett Crochet, Eric Fetty. So he's on the prowl, so to speak. Meanwhile, the Padres are going to play the Mets, and they've won 5 of 6. They've beaten consecutive left-handed starters. You look up, Jim, and would you know it, that it's going to be old friend Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea tomorrow, early start because they're in New York, but Kevin Acee will join us tomorrow, our Padres insider in the 3 o'clock hour. But I'm just beginning to sense maybe that they can put something together here. Again, Manaea tomorrow, not overly concerning. You've won 5 of your last 6. You're good on the road. Is the snowball effect on right now at the Padres? Is 5 out of 6 going to turn into 7 out of 8, 8 out of 9, something like that coming up?
This is the moment they've had a couple times this year where you think it's coming, and then it turns into back to 500.
Yeah.
Or 5-game losing streak.
Yeah,
or they have a bad road trip. Or, I mean, not a bad road trip, bad homestand.
Mm-hmm.
Not like they lose 5 in a row, but it's not like it's like a 3-3 homestand.
Right.
Or, a 3-4 homestand or whatever. So this is another moment. Again, I saw someone on the text line is like, just be happy they swept. I mean,
just be happy in general.
Just be happy that the Padres won a baseball game. If you listen to the show yesterday
and today, have we not? We are being very reasonable and fair.
Like, sorry, I'm a little cautious with things because this team hasn't really proven anything yet. While it's also still great they got their first sweep, it's amazing what Jackson Merrill's been doing for this team. Having the walk-off yesterday, we actually got to talk a lot about the walk-off win yesterday because our show was happening during the game, and we had a good 2+ hours of how great Jackson Merrill's been for the Padres. So now today, we are in, all right, sweep was great, but you can't just sit there and be content, because if you're just content, then that's the worst place to be in. Yeah. And I don't think the players are. I'm talking about like some of you fans, like, guys, if you are just going to sit there, and I'm probably just talking to this texter realistically, if you're just going to sit there and be like, let's just be happy we got a sweep. Okay, well, I will be happy if the Padres rally off, I don't know, 12 of 15. I'll be happy if the Padres end up going like, I don't know, 10 games over 500. I'll be happy if, I don't know, the Padres make the postseason.
Yeah, but some of that we need to wait on, obviously.
Yes,
so we can't
I agree.
necessarily wait to be. I am happy right now with the way they've played. Like to put it frankly, they've won 5 of 6. And they're a couple of games over 500. They've
Great
played
homestand.
well enough.
Great homestand.
Now, did you read the Padres Daily? I know it's daily.
I usually read it.
Skim it. You don't read
Like
it.
if Kevin's coming on, like
Okay,
that
otherwise
day,
you don't read it.
that day, I'll skim it. Usually someone has to be like, dude, Jim, you got to read this.
Well, did you know then, because you didn't read it, but maybe Ben Fadden tweeted about it, although I don't know if he did.
Probably.
That Padres team leaders did feel compelled to get together last Friday and talk about the way they were playing, which was on the heels of a 5-game losing streak.
Is that what you're telling me is a team meeting was had?
Leaders met, not team.
Just
leaders like the tribal council. Have you ever watched Survivor?
I love Survivor.
Have like those sticks with the flames off the top.
Yeah.
The music.
Your time has ended.
They call them torches, John.
Torches. They had torches. So they met with torches. And anyway, they did talk about it. Then they passed the message along to the team. So not officially a team meeting. But this idea that you just said, like, hey, don't be content. I don't think team-wise they are. Fans who know, you're all over the map.
Oh,
some people are thrilled that it's sunny outside. Other people, you can never do enough until you win a World Series. Completely reasonable as well.
Yeah, some people are ready to buy World Series tickets.
So, but honestly, like, again, I'm also not going to do this with the Mets series. I'm not going to treat every game like a Super Bowl or a World Series. If they are, for example, in New York winning 2 of 3. Like, I'm not going to say tomorrow night, if they lose the game, oh my gosh, they gave everything back. They might still win the series. Or tomorrow they win the game. I'll say, oh, everything's perfect. They may still lose the series. So let's look at it over. Like, what do they do on the 6-game road trip? They go 2-4 or 4-2. Like, I'll look at it as a whole.
Yeah.
And I'll look at it series to series, but I'm not going to judge them every single day and be like, oh man, they just lost one to the Mets. Someone said, who was it? Must have been on social media. Someone was like, yeah, well, they're still 6-6 in the last 12. They should be 12-0. That's not a great take. They should have been 12-0 because they played.
What they are is 30, 35. Games over 500. That's what they are. And they played much better on this homestand in a condensed time period over the course of the last 3 weeks. Their record is going to be obviously not as good because you got a 5-game losing streak mixed in there. But it's now taking what they did on this homestand, which was the best homestand of the season, and bottling it up and taking it with you on the road here and hopefully for the rest of this month. You know, that loss to Kansas City last weekend, they took that with them to Anaheim. And guess what? They got swept. And then they kind of brought it home a little bit. That Thursday night game was a little wonky, but still they lost. So that was 5 in a row, pretty much because of their loss that Sunday versus the Royals.
Right.
So what you're hoping for now is, well, if this team brings series and games with them, hopefully they bring this pretty dramatic series with the Oakland A's, 2 walk-offs. I mean, that's can't get much better than that. Only thing better is 3 walk-offs in the series. Hopefully
that's not going to happen in New York.
No, but hopefully you take that and you bring that positivity and winning with you to New York and Philadelphia and have a really good road trip. If you have a really good road trip, next weekend when we're talking, when they play, who do they play when they come home? I don't know, but whoever they play.
Yeah, I like that.
Then it's like, wow, they just took them, they had a 5-game losing streak and they just had a great 2-week stretch.
What they do have, like, this is undeniable. What they do have right now is once again one of the best players in the sport. That's Fernando Tatis Jr. I didn't know if they were going to have that player this year. I theorized they'd have him at some point. I mean, it's a 14-year deal. He's 25 years old. So no one quit on Fernando Tatis Jr. But there was a time, 2020, his first 30 games were incredible. 2021, by and large, was an incredible season, 40-plus home runs. For Toddy, 28 of them maybe in the first half of the season, 26 or 28 of them. And right now what he's done, I think he's reached base in 22 consecutive games, something like that. He is playing like an elite player in the sport. He just is. He had a 17-game hitting streak. It was snapped yesterday, but he is elite right now. That's the first time we've been able to say it, I would say this year, that the Padres truly have one of the best players in baseball on their team playing like it. We could have said that they had some of the best players, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., but they weren't playing like it. Right now, they truly have one of the best players in the sport in terms of meeting expectations or going beyond it. I hope that continues. That, to me, is massive. If this is Toddy now, in a nutshell, he bottles it up, plays like this, that is incredibly encouraging for the Padres. Imagine you turning your mic on.
Imagine me turning my mic on and speaking into the radio like I have for a long time.
Oh, very long.
Imagine if they also add
I'm listening.
a equally as hot Manny Machado.
Whew. Can you imagine?
When's the last time they've had that as a team? 2021?
2021 first half, I think you said, maybe.
Where they have had two of their superstar players just going crazy.
Man, that would be. Now, they do have two players playing great. Jurickson Profar has been great.
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis Jr. in a shorter sample size has been
Donnie
terrific.
Barrels.
In short sample size, honestly, has been very
Action
good.
Jackson.
Has been very good. So they actually do have a lot of players that
Donnie
play
Barrels.
very well. Donnie Barrels is one of them.
I need a Schulte Action Jackson drop.
Yeah, does he say that?
He'll probably say it one time if you know.
If he didn't say it yesterday, I don't know if we're going to hear it.
Yeah. I hope that he says it one time.
I do too.
I'll try to find it.
I do too.
You know what I want like, you remember when those dolls they had when we were kids and you'd pull the string and it would
yeah,
say
of course.
stuff? We need a Mike Schilt doll. When you pull it, it will just say stuff like, oh my God, I love this team.
I would
and,
love that.
Oh my gosh.
Show Crone Zone some love.
Or the
and-
talking bobble, like Don and Mud that
Yeah.
talked.
Little Ouchie?
Spoke. Whatever. Yeah, Luaccio, no.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
Donnie Barrels.
Oh,
Swarry.
he's a baseball player. Of course he's a baseball player. That'd be amazing.
Again,
Sorry.
I'm not going to alibi it.
if they win, Schulteisms
great.
are
It's great.
amazing.
When they lose, not so much.
When they lose,
I
I don't
know.
want to hear it.
It's like real. That's how it always is.
I know.
You know?
But that's why it's like, just please win, because I want to like all this stuff. I want to continue to be like, Brett, put another Schulteism on the wall, because they are. It's amazing when they win.
I still don't like. I can't fully put my arms around why they're good on the road. One of the best in baseball, certainly in the National League. They have the same record as the Dodgers.
I have a theory.
Okay.
It's not Petco.
Yeah, but we say that, and you're 100% right. But if we looked at the last, someone had it. You look at the last like 10 or 15 years of Petco. They're fine. They play over 500. They don't have an elite record. Even last year, not a good team. Ended up 6-7 games over 500 at home.
Well, shoot, if they play like they did this past homestand for the next 2 months at home,
Then they'll be good
it
at home.
won't matter anymore, because they'll be good at home.
But my point is, I actually do think they'll get there with their home record. Like, I think eventually they'll get there. They'll finish 5, 6, 7 games over 500. If they continue to play like this on the road, all of a sudden they could really make something of their overall record.
Mhm.
It's impressive. 19-14 is a good road record. I can't put my finger exactly on it. We've talked about some of the things with Petco Park over the years, but there's no concern. Like, most teams in baseball, you go on the road, even with the Padres historically, like, oh gosh, here we go. Like, who knows what's going to come out of this road trip? I don't really feel like that with them. I'm like, oh, I'm so worried that what if this is that 0-6 trip? I mean, I don't know. They've just consistently been good on the road, and hopefully that continues here. And by the way, they don't have to be perfect anywhere, home or road, because of the National League. It's not like you have all this pressure. You have to beat the Mets in the series. Do you? It would be nice.
Maybe they just really like batting first.
Maybe. Or second. Not as much as second.
Still, tomorrow's game, and we'll talk about it obviously tomorrow as well, but like, I view it as still don't like trip up.
You're right.
Here,
Don't trip up and give it back.
because the sweep is great, but when I think Jonathan said it today, or Darren, like, when you win series that Schulte loves, Okay, well, it's easily negated by just one series where you get swept. And the only way these like winning series like truly matter in the long, like if you sweep teams. And so you have a sweep here with the A's. If you take 2 or 3 from the Mets, or even better, I don't know, maybe have a 6-game winning streak. That'd be freaking awesome. And then like happen to take 2 or 3 from one of the best teams in baseball and the Phillies on the road. Then when you say we've won 3 straight series in a row, it means and matters more because of the sweeps you had in there. When you don't sweep teams and you have a 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and then you get swept in one series, well, it negates the 2 series that you just won.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw, there's been all this talk. You sweep a series and you get all type of reaction. Even Dave called us and was like, "Hey, look at the division." And we kind of said, hey, let's slow down, and that's fine. You can look at it. And then you have other people saying, "Hey, they're gonna be the top wild card team." And they say, "Well, do you even want to be the top wild card team? Because that's a home series as opposed to a road series." But like, I would baby step it to your point. Like, if I'm leaning towards extreme optimism or cautious optimism, I'm with you. I'm probably in the cautious camp, but that's still optimism.
You're all in though, bro.
But it's still optimism is my point.
No,
I'm more optimistic than not. I never have said they're going to win the World Series, and here's why. And I've never said there's no chance this team makes the postseason, and here's why. I've been the cautious optimism guy from day one. It doesn't change off the A sweep. I don't go from cautiously optimistic to fully all in. Let's look at that division. I see the Dodgers. They're within arm's reach. I see the top wild card. No, I'm for your stance of baby steps, but I just tend to be on the cautious optimism side as opposed to the opposite, which I think you are as well.
Oh, I 100%. I am the cautiously optimistic about this team. And I will continue to say I gotta have to see it. I need to see it. One sweep to the A's, while it was a great sweep, and some of the things that happened in that series are like, wow, all right, that's great. That's nice. It is still just one sweep. And we can sit here and be super excited about it. Like, I think we are. Like, we're happy that they finally got this sweep under their belt, and we don't have to sit here and continuously have these conversations about, can they sweep a team this year? Are they going to get a sweep? Or are they just going to have to just continue to win 2 out of 3 every series for the rest of the season? And that would just please Schulte beyond belief. But we kind of knew, like, at some point you're going to have to sweep a couple teams to feel good about yourself, to put yourself in position where you're not sweating bullets here at the end of the year, and that, the final couple of weeks of the season, you are not fighting for that final spot. You're kind of maybe fighting for positioning for the 5th or 6th,
right? As opposed to, are we going to make
4th or 5th seed?
Yeah, like you put yourself 6 up with 9 to play just to make it. You're like, we're in.
And then you could see the Braves in front of you with 7 games to play. You're 2 back of the Braves.
Yeah, you got a chance to be the first wild card,
right?
Yeah.
So that's where I would feel really good if that's where the team is. But right now they still have to show it. They still got to prove it, and they can't have a trip up here versus another team that's inferior to them in the Mets.
2 other stories before Ryan Harrington joins us at 5:30 to talk about the U.S. Open that, again, are nationally relevant, I think locally to some extent as well. One of which is this naming rights story we've talked about where, hey, the Big 12 is dipping their toe in the water. The Athletic is reporting, so is the Mountain West, that they have at least had conversations about sponsoring the league, changing it from the Mountain West to the FedEx West. I'm making that up, but
good.
The sponsorship, because
more
again,
money.
you got to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah, more revenue. So that I'm with you. I'm completely with you on that. The other story where I think people tend to get up in arms, and even you briefly were like, Trevor Lawrence, $275 million. This is a little bit like the starting pitching conversation we have in baseball. We're like, Sean Manaea, Mike Clevenger is getting this deal. He's guaranteed an annual salary above $50 million, right? 50, and you say, whoa, but it's 6th, and it's the most recent. And there's 32 teams.
Yeah,
he's 6th, but Goff is ahead of him. Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Dak. No, Joe Burrow.
Okay,
Dak not yet. Patrick Mahomes has the length, but not the AAV, so to speak. But it's like, this is just, sometimes we get all up in arms about, like, this is every single quarterback that is quote unquote franchise. Every guy that starts for 5 years in the NFL, at one point it'll be Brock Purdy, and then it'll once again be whomever is right. This is just every quarterback. Like if you're a starting quarterback and you've had a level of success, X class had a level of success, then you get paid based on that.
And it also, we have to remember too that the salary cap has gone way up.
Way up. Yeah, exactly.
So this type of contract 4 years ago would have not
crazy,
not crippled a team, but would have made it very hard for a team to like sign all their good players.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the salary cap going way up, maybe the $15 million a year isn't what it would have been 4 or 5 years ago. Or 50 million 4 or 5 years ago, you'd be like, oh my God, that's going to ruin the salary cap for that team. But not now. And I would assume in the future, the salary cap's just going to go up.
Just going to go up.
Because the NFL is the king.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the king of media deals and marketing as far as like money revenue goes and TV, and they'll be on Netflix here for Christmas. Like there's no bounds to how much money they can bring in on an annual basis. It is almost like limitless. It feels like.
I agree.
Like there's no limit onto like how much money they're going to be making here in the future. They're just going to go up and up and up and up and up and up.
And it's just the position. Like the position gets paid that. Like the position in baseball, starting pitcher, the entry point for a veteran starting pitcher is $10 million. And then people like lose their minds. Like, how is Sean Manaea making $10 million? Or how did Yu Darvish get this $100 million deal? Because he's a veteran starting pitcher in the big leagues. And if you want to keep him, that's what they're owed. How does Blake Snell make $30 million a year? Because that's how it works. He's got a Cy Young. He's actually got 2. So I don't lose as much sleep over it because I know it's coming down the pipeline again. It's not like we're going to be surprised by the Purdy deal. Oh, they got it for 19.5. Oh, Purdy's making $19 million a year when everyone else is making 55. Guess what? Brock Purdy's going to get a lot of money.
Yeah, he's going to get the, especially if he has another good year this year.
We'll get these deals, right?
He'll get better than that deal.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he just will. He's been in the Super Bowl. He is, you know, if you look at last year, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And Trevor Lawrence has not been able to say those things in his time as a quarterback. So, yeah, Brock Purdy has another good season. Then if I'm his agent, I'm like, the low point is Trevor Lawrence's contract. That's where I'm starting.
That's why it's the last ride for the Niners. All right, on the other side, Ryan Harrington Golf Digest, Pinehurst U.S. Open underway. We'll react to round 1. We'll look ahead to Friday and the weekend with Ryan Harrington from Golf Digest. Plus, we'll give away tickets to see Third Eye Blind at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater next week on June 21st. It's Jon and Jim. All right, Ryan Harrington, managing editor at Golf Digest, on round one of the U.S. Open, plus Third Eye Blind tickets we'll give away next.
This update is brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Padres take on the Mets tomorrow on the road. Start a 6-game road trip in New York and Philadelphia after coming off their sweep yesterday to the Oakland A's. San Diego FC announced the signing of Chucky Lozano. He'll wear number 11 with the club. Jack Cronin has a special San Diego FC Chucky Lozano power hour of sorts, starting at 6 p.m. till 7 tonight. NBA last night, Celtics beat the Mavericks to take a commanding 3-0 series lead. And according to reports, the Lakers will interview J.J. Redick this weekend for their head coaching job. In this U.S. Open update, their leaderboard right now, Patrick Cantlay and Rory McIlroy both leading at 5 under par. Summer is here at Toyota Carlsbad, and now you can tons and tons of new Toyotas with new Toyotas arriving daily. Save today on a great selection of new Toyota Tacomas. Details at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
Pinehurst number 2, 2024 U.S. Open. Great to connect with Ryan Harrington, managing editor, Golf Digest, back with us here on Jon and Jim. San Diego Sports 760. Jim has had the leaderboard throughout the course of the afternoon and evening with Patrick Cantlay and Rory McIlroy at the top of it, but a number of players obviously within just 2 or 3 strokes of the lead through round one. So, Ryan, we appreciate your time. What's been your big takeaway, or maybe a couple of takeaways from day one at Pinehurst?
Well, thanks for having me on, first of all. No, I think the course was not quite the beast that I think a lot of people were anticipating. That had really been the pre-tournament buzz the last couple of days, how difficult the course seemed to be setting up, how fast the greens were already. These are notoriously fast greens on these saucer, backed or turtle-backed greens that with the ball rolling everywhere. I think a lot of people were wondering if there were many under par rounds to be had. And we had 2 rounds at 65, the lowest score ever shot in the U.S. Open here at Pinehurst after, 3 other previous appearances. So I think the scores were a little bit lower than we expected. That said,
The course is only going to get firmer. There's not a whole lot of rain in the forecast, maybe a little overnight the next couple nights. It's supposed to be hot. So I think today might have been as gettable as this course gets. And there are a few people that were able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple of videos of the greens and placements on the greens. If you hit the ball, it's just gonna roll right off it, and it tough pin placements. But like you said, the players today, they got some good scores out there going into the weekend. Do you expect, and does the U.S. Open expect this not to be like it was today?
I think the USGA officials that were setting up the golf course have a couple things going on a Thursday here. They need to get everybody around this golf course. So 156 players. They're professionals. They're the best players in the world, but this is the U.S. Open. It's a difficult setup, and so they need to make sure they're finishing. So they couldn't have this golf course on an edge on a Thursday. They're not going to have it on an edge tomorrow either. They got to get everybody around. But once you get to the weekend where you've cut out, the players that aren't playing very well, then I see this golf course becoming even a sterner test. And so I think, like I said, I think today's scores were probably as low as we're going to see during the course of the week here. I think it'll get more difficult each day just by natural attrition. And I think it's going to be set up more difficultly on the weekend. And so, I think they talk a lot, the USGA talks a lot about, not really being worried about a target score anymore, that this tournament used to be all about par is your friend, et cetera, et cetera. They say that that's not a big deal here, but I think by the end of the week here, they don't want this to turn into what happened to the PGA Championship, where it was a birdie fest. I think they want to see difficult conditions, and they want to see who can stand out best amongst those playing in those conditions.
Ryan Harrington with us right now, managing editor, Golf Digest. Again, the U.S. Open is underway. We mentioned Rory is tied for the lead, and Ryan, as you know, it's been a while in a major since he's finished with the championship. I mean, you're going back a decade since he's won a major. I think I have that right. So is now the time? I mean, does this set up well for Rory based on what he did here today?
Well, he's put himself in a great position, and it was interesting listening to him after the round. If a bogey-free 65, the only other times he's had a bogey-free opening rounds in major championships, he actually has gone on to win them a couple times. So that's a good omen there. And in this tournament in particular, you can't play catch-up. It's really, really difficult at the U.S. Open to play catch-up. And so being able to have a good score out front, being in the afternoon wave where the scores were a little bit higher, I think that means that he's going to come out early tomorrow, have a cleaner golf course, and potentially be able to stretch out a lead a little bit if he continues to play as well as he did. The best thing he did today was he was very accurate off the tee, very accurate to the greens, and then inside of 10 feet, he made almost every one of his putts. And so there was an all-around quality to his game that has been, he's been on the doorstep with it at the U.S. Opens here the last few years. He's had top 10 finishes the last 5 straight years and hasn't been able to pull it out. And the decade-long drought of majors definitely is playing in his mind, I think, to a certain extent, but he's put himself in a great position to try to finally end that drought.
Scotty Scheffler shot a 1/71 today, but the way that he's been playing, if he's in striking distance, does he have that aura of him right now where people are fearing, oh my gosh, Scotty's, either chasing, or once he gets the lead, it feels like it's over. Are you feeling that same way about him that maybe you felt a little bit about Tiger back in the day? If he's in striking distance, don't ever count him out.
Well, I definitely think there is a different sense about Scotty Scheffler compared to the rest of the people out on the PGA Tour right now. Everyone has a respect for his game and how well he's been playing of late. I don't think there's a fear like Tiger, if you will. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a little extreme per se. But that said, when Scotty Scheffler's name appears on the leaderboard, everybody realizes this is a guy who's not necessarily going to go away. I think today's 1-over round is a real big surprise. He was not very accurate off the tee. And this is a guy whose tee to green game has been outstanding for the last 2.5 years. And so I think today was a surprise for a lot of people. Like I said, on a day where the course was a little bit more gettable than people expected, Scotty Scheffler wasn't one of the people that was getting it. And does that mean he's out of it? By no means. Here's a guy who can play better than almost everybody out here and make up that ground quickly. But as I said before, playing catch up at the U.S. Open isn't necessarily the way to win that championship.
How's it set up for Xander Schauffele off his first major championship? And it was so compelling the way he was able to pull it off there at the 72nd hole. He was even par here today. He's obviously played some brilliant golf here throughout 2024. How does Pinehurst number 2 match his game? And how well positioned is he moving forward off his first major championship?
Well, I would presume that he's got, a bit of a burden off of him by having finally, broken through and won that major championship. That's something that a lot of players who haven't won these, obviously, it just keeps snowballing there, and that monkey on your back, to use a great cliche. Now, he had 4 birdies, 4 bogeys today, a little bit inconsistent. I think this is a golf course that plays into his hands to a certain extent. I think he plays well on hard golf courses. He's 5 off the lead at this point in time. He's definitely not out of it, obviously. And I think he was just trying to get his footing here. I mean, he's had a pretty emotional run since winning at Valhalla a few weeks ago, and trying to get back into that mindset of, okay, let me capitalize again here. Let me see if I can get on a run in majors with having this one here now, and then the British Open, obviously, in just a few weeks as well. I think he's in good position to be a contender this week, and I don't see any reason why we won't be seeing him, threatening things here over the course of the next few days.
The Olympics is coming up here soon, and the Pinehurst, the U.S. Open, it's going to matter for players for the Olympics. Who has the most to gain this weekend for the Olympic teams here coming up here this summer?
Yeah, you're right. The qualifying actually ends after this week's tournament, and so the U.S. team, Xander and Scotty Scheffler have already essentially locked up spots on the U.S. team. Patrick Cantley, though, he had been inside that bubble. The way it works is if you are amongst the top 15 players on the world ranking, if you will, the Olympic ranking, you essentially can qualify so long as they're only allowed 4 from any country. So Patrick Cantley was number 4 for a long time here this spring, and then just the last couple of weeks had fallen out. He's now number 5 among the Americans. A good week this week. Obviously, he can play himself into the Olympics by playing well here. And it's the same kind of bubble for a few different countries here. Not all of them are going to get 4. Most of them are only going to get 1 or 2. And so there is a lot on the line for these people to be able to represent their countries. It's a huge deal. I know the Olympics isn't really something that a lot of people think about from a golf standpoint because it's only happened for the last 2 Olympic Games, but this is something that's starting to build up. And Xander, obviously, having won the gold medal in Tokyo, I think it's a big deal for him to even just qualify to be able to try to compete and try to defend that gold medal. And so, I think that's something in the back of everybody's mind. They're focused on the U.S. Open this week, obviously, but those other carrots are down the road here, and those are things to play for as well.
Ryan, before you go, Tiger Woods +4 today in the opening round of the U.S. Open. What didn't go right for Tiger today?
He struggled, finding his way to the greens. He wasn't hitting his irons very well, and it's a shame. It was great that he got the special exemption. I believe he deserves a special exemption into the U.S. Open until he finally says enough is enough here. He's done so much for this game. He's won 9 USGA championships, 3 U.S. Opens. He deserves to get that that little extra break here. But he's not playing enough. He doesn't have the competitive reps to be able to really be a factor in these tournaments. And he started so well today. It was fantastic to see him. I think he was 1 under through the first few holes. And there's a little bit of excitement here, but and also the weather is going to be perfect for him. He's not going to have to worry about being cold and tightening up in his back and whatnot. But he's not out here enough to really be a contender, and so it's a shame. And the question now is he going to play well enough to make the cut tomorrow? He's going to need a under par round, I think, to be able to do it, and I'm not sure he's got it in him.
Ryan, we always appreciate it. We're looking forward to day 2, Pinehurst number 2, Friday. Ryan Harrington, managing editor of Golf Digest. We appreciate you taking time for us here in San Diego.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Take care now.
All right, great stuff from Ryan. Call right now if you want Third Eye Blind tickets. Caller 5, they are yours. This is June 21st, which is 8 days away. Next Friday night, Third Eye Blind. We have 2 free tickets at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Call 877-767-4760. Caller 5, those are your tickets. 2 free tickets next Friday night. Great date night. Third Eye Blind, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater next Friday night. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. If you want those free tickets, be caller 5 at 877-767-4760. Call right now. Jim's back page next. Jim's back page. That's next. Jack Cronin in studio, 1 full hour on Chucky Lozano. Special guest, Daryl Smith. Jonathan Rifkin. 6 to 7 right here. San Diego Sports 760. Talking San Diego FC, Major League Soccer, and
Chucky.
that's you, Chucky. Exactly. Jim somehow has managed to sneeze primarily off air today. Off air, he has sneezed, I kid you not, 100 times since I first
Stop,
saw him.
sneeze.
At
Achoo.
At 2:30 this afternoon, he has sneezed 100 times.
That's not exaggerating at all.
100 times.
100 times.
On air, maybe 0 or 1.
I don't think he did it all on air today.
Okay, so off air 100. It's amazing how you've been able to do that.
Yeah.
Achoo.
Achoo.
Credit to me. Credit to me for not sneezing on air.
This is what professional broadcasting looks like.
Yeah.
If you want to do this for a living,
right.
if you want to be back-to-back UT best of something,
you suck it up.
You just suck it up.
Did Mark and Rich win this year, by the way?
Do we have a winner?
I don't know.
Mark and Rich was on the list this year. Now they
tells you what you need to know.
They don't
the list this year.
Oh, but the other years it was great when we
No,
won
the
it.
other years were legit.
Yeah, exactly.
I said
but now
this,
it's not legit anymore.
This year, John.
Right.
Not the
no longer
years,
legit.
Not years in the past, but this year was.
So it's not legit if we beat shows that haven't existed in like 5 years.
There was a show on there. It was like Sports 760. It's not even a show. This is like a thing.
Well,
semantics.
Stay tuned if we can three-peat.
I'm not gonna hold my breath.
I know.
Then I'll just sneeze.
If you hold your breath, you'll die.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, let's get to it.
Stop, sneeze. Achoo.
The Hulkster, John. Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
He is launching a beer brand in 17 states this summer. His beer is called the Real American Beer, brother.
Does it talk like that?
No,
but he does.
But he does.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan is preparing to launch in 4 states this month, with over a dozen more to follow over the summer. Quote, he's bringing America together one beer at a time. The Real American Beer, brother, Hulk Hogan's said. Coming to a city near you.
Now, is he still like wrestling?
No, John, he's like 68. He's like almost 70 years old.
He's older than
So
that.
he's not the champ?
He's not the champ, no. But it is a American-style light lager.
He's 70.
And the logo's awesome. It's what you would expect from Hulk Hogan. It's a beer with the red, white, and blue.
Oh,
all
that's an
over
old.
it.
That's that was an old WWF graphic for one of the WrestleManias or pay-per-views that he just reused it. Because I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a famous one.
So yeah, get ready for that. And it's going to eventually be in retail stores across the country in Albertsons, Safeway, Sam's Club, Total Wine and more, Walmart, and many more, according to the press release.
Is California one of the states?
You know what I want?
What?
You know, like how on like the Bush commercials when they open the can, it goes Bush. For this, when you open the can, it needs to go brother.
So is California one of the states?
California, it doesn't say California as of right now. But you have Florida as one of the places.
So close.
Well, that's where he's from.
Yeah, Minnesota,
Oh,
Missouri, and Colorado.
Perfect.
So those are the 4 that are going to be released in to start off.
I'll book a flight.
Yeah. Saturday Night Fever, John. Did you ever watch that movie?
I don't think so. Did you?
John Travolta.
Oh yeah, Staying Alive.
Yes. Speaking of the dance floor.
Oh yeah, this was on Brent's back page.
Yeah, they were auctioning it off, right?
Yeah.
It sold
$35K.
No, it's more than that
Was
because
it?
they thought. Remember, because they thought they was going to get it like close to $300K.
Is that right? How much? Close to, I'll say $299.
I'll say 250,000.
John wins $325,000.
Wow.
The dance floor from Saturday Night Fever sold in an auction.
What would you do with that? Would you set it up like the movie?
Dance on it.
Hell freaking
Disco
yeah.
ball?
I would, if I had like
Bell bottoms?
a garage that I didn't like do anything with, I would turn it into a bar.
Yeah.
If I had any money.
Have your Hulk Hogan beer.
My Hulk Hogan brother beer, American Lager brother, and then I would have the dance floor from Saturday Night Fever.
I'm with you,
dude. And like a pool table over in the corner.
You could do it. All you need is like $350K.
A couple flat screen TVs.
Perfect. $500,000, you're golden.
It's perfect. I love it. Speaking of things that just recently sold, the costume that was worn, and this is crazy because it's pretty newish. It's not like something that was worn in like 1950 or whatever. The Wonder Woman costume from the new version of Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot, who is not Wonder Woman anymore because the DCU has now changed with James Gunn. Her outfit from the original movie just sold for $115,000.
And you're saying this is from the movie just a few years ago?
From 2017. So like
$15K?
That's a lot of money for a recently worn outfit from a newer version of the movie.
Was it a widely popular movie this 2017?
Her first movie was kind of popular, but the second movie just
first
completely
one was notoriously
bombed.
awful.
Oh.
Brent doesn't like it.
No, I said that nobody liked the second one. The
second one was awful.
Was this the second or the first?
The first.
Okay.
First. Second one was god awful.
Okay.
And then finally, the bike that was used in E.T., the actual bike with E.T., the one where he like flies with E.T. and it's go over the moon. Or
right.
It's a 1981 BMX bike. Rode in the film. Sold for $52,000. That is actually I'd rather like ET. Seems like it's like I'm riding the ET bike around. Absolutely. All right, Jack Cronin, special hour, Major League Soccer, Chucky Lozano. It's officially official. Jack Cronin in studio for 1 full hour on the other side. If you missed anything, you can order go sportsSD.com, iHeartRadio, Apple Health, tomorrow, Q&A show in the first hour for Brett and Jim. I'm John Jim here, Jack Cronin there. San Diego Sports 760. Okay, peace out.